I'm not.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. We're taking your calls today for Dr. Zorba Paster.
The number to call is 270-9933. Zorba joins us from his clinic in Oregon. Hi, Zorba.
Hi, good to see you. I'm not taking atomic vodka, by the way. I'm not going to drink that.
I wouldn't either. We're talking steps today.
That's right. So the question is, how many steps should you take? So, you know, that golden rule, supposedly 10,000 steps a day, that was invented with the primary inventor of the pedometer, the old pedometers that were invented maybe 25, 30 years ago, even more than that. They were spring-loaded. And the idea was 10,000 steps was a good number because in Japan, the number 10,000 is a lucky number. So that's where that number really came from. But recent research published in the British Medical Journal really looked at how many steps you should take. And there are a few numbers that I think they're important. First of all, if you're below about 1,000 steps a day, you're much more likely to become weak. And so if you wear a pedometer, you know, one of the activity monitors, and you're below 1,000 steps a day, rather, that really is not good for you. The magic number seems to be somewhere around 4,500 to 5,000 steps. At that point, you're going to reach a fairly good amount to keep your body healthy and active. And one of the things they found was the number of steps, the more you took, the better off you were, until about 7,500 or 8,000 steps. And after that, from a point of view of cardiovascular health, it didn't seem to make a difference. So I think we've got to set our sights actually a little bit lower and say, if we reach 5,000 steps a day, we're doing pretty good. And that 10,000 steps a day, which is really hard for most people to reach, is a high number for those people who really want to excel.
All right. As you were checking your steps.
Yeah, I was checking my steps here. I'm at 7,000. I need to slow down. All right. Let's go to the phones. We'll start with Jay in Partyville. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great. What's your question?
I have a question. Why my doctor, after 7 years, gave me lorazepam for PTSD and depression and some mental illness problems. And a year and a half ago, he took me off them and said that they were bad for my body and mind. But that was the only thing that kept me calm and that really helped me. And I still never got a reason why they took me off.
Okay, what's the side effects, Zorba?
Well, I can give you some reasons that are very common for that. First of all, we know that people who take lorazepam, alprazolam, and Valium, they're really all in the same class, tend to become habituated to those drugs. They can actually be drugs of abuse, so there's an abuse problem with them. And once people go on them, often they stay on them. We also know that people don't function as well because often they get tired and they get fatigued. The better drugs are low-dose antidepressants. Paxil, Prozac, Celexa are really much better drugs for people with anxiety, and that's why we look towards that. The other issue with the benzodiazepines, those are the drugs such as alprazolam, is that you're more likely to fall, and if you mix them with opioids, you're more likely to stop breathing. So we know these drugs are much more riskier to give, and that's basically why we begin to shy away from these drugs. Really started that probably about 5 or 10 years ago, and started to use antidepressants, safer, better drugs in the long run.
So there's alternatives for them?
Yes, there are.
All right, let's go to Mark in Madison. Hi, Mark. What's your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what's the best type of food should a person eat when they have diverticulitis?
Any food you want to. The old idea that you couldn't eat seeds is thrown out. We've actually proven that you can eat all the seeds, all the corn, everything that you want to, eat any food that you want to, but a high roughage diet is a diet that's better for you. So high fiber, high roughage is going to be good for you. Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. Stay away from you know, things that are really refined, sugars and things like that. But for the most part, anything you want to eat, as long as it's healthy and follows the Mediterranean diet, that's a good diet for you.
Well, that's reassuring to hear, yeah.
All right, Polly
Yes.
in Sun Prairie, what's your question?
Hi. I have fingernails growing under my fingernails.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. So that's
thanks.
exactly it. You have stumped me. You have fingernails growing under you. What does your doctor say?
She says that it's because of my age.
because of your age. Well, you can have thickened fingernails because of your age. So as we get older, our fingernails do get thickened. But I've not heard of fingernails growing underneath fingernails. But thickened fingernails are a common thing with age, especially in the toes. And podiatrists often work a lot with that to make sure, especially people with diabetes, that their toenails are taken care of. Now, the other thing that can also produce this for a thickened fingernail can be a fungal infection, something called onychomycosis, and a drug called Lamisil that you take 250 milligrams once a day for 3 months will get rid of it. So if you've got a fungal infection and it's a thickened fingernail, that may work. But I've never heard of a fingernail growing underneath of a fingernail.
Okay. So probably just thickening. All right, Chuck from Black Earth. Hi, Chuck. What's your question?
Yes. What is your take on DMSO salve?
DMSO. Well, back in the day, 10 years, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, DMSO was really big because it was used for horses and racehorses. And a number of studies were done with DMSO to see whether it did anything at all. And basically, it's been relegated into really not working. So, and they did double-blind controlled studies to see if it was working. And about the time that DMSO was out, a number of farmers in my practice were rubbing their joints with WD-40 because they thought WD-40 might actually work. And I could tell because they would come in with stained jeans that would smell like WD-40. But believe me, DMSO, I think, is in the same category as WD-40. I would stay away from it.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either.
You haven't been in my practice. That's why you haven't heard of it.
All right, stay away from the WD-40. Good advice, Zorba. Thank you. Thank you all for calling in. We'll do this again soon, and we'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.